Hey, Patrice.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
I won't complain.
Good, good. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Well, let me turn my.
Good to hear you, I should say.
Now it's good to see me.
There we go. All right. I am decided I'm stream this on Facebook too.
Oh, I'm gonna be on Facebook.
You get
Look ready.
yeah, actually let me yeah, let me all right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna publish it to too many places. Usually when I'm on live, um, I'll publish to a bunch of groups, but today I'm gonna just stay on my main profile and leave it at that. All
Okay.
right, let me just see. Okay, all right, so that's live. All right, just checking on a couple things. Yeah, I got a little lazy this week
Hmm.
and did not well, I should say over the weekend and did not do as much promo as I should have,
Okay.
but that's okay. We actually had a great call last week. We've had a number of individuals sign up, and we are now live on Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, definitely be sure to comment and let me know that you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know if you have any questions. Today is actually day two. Well, not day two, but the second overview call that we're having for 90 Days of Focus. And this is the first time that I've actually had a formal process for 90 Days of Focus. If you've been following me for any amount of time, especially the last 3 years, you know that I started 90 Days of Focus in 2019, and it was mostly something that I was doing personally. And then over time, people started to notice and people started to really like what I was doing, and people started to kind of participate on their own. So this year, I decided to put together a more formal process, and these overview calls are a part of that formal process. Just getting the word out there, giving people an opportunity to find out more about 90 Days of Focus, and then we'll actually jump into the program. The program starts October 2nd. So thank you for logging on. If you missed last week's call, this call be a little bit shorter, but it's going to be the same information. I'm a little tired today, so I'm gonna try to power through it, and hopefully that won't affect my performance too much. But we'll talk about all that good stuff as we move along. But if you are watching on Facebook, let me make sure I pull this up. Let me know where you're watching from adequately. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions today. All right, so yeah, if you're watching on Facebook, just drop something in the comments. This is a live comment section, and I am watching the comments as best I can, at least. All right, just have one more person log on. Hello, Gene. Thank you for logging on. No worries. You do not have to speak or or put your camera on if you're uncomfortable. I totally get it. I totally understand. Plus, it's right around dinner time, so who knows? You might be spending time with family. But I appreciate you for logging on, and I will get started in just a second. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do a screen share and start my presentation. Let me get that together. Screen share. Okay. All right. Let me get to the first slide. There, start there. Okay. All right, so let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna minimize my windows so you don't see all the faces. All right, there we go. So welcome to tonight's overview call. This is the overview call again for 90 Days of Focus for our fall 2021 program. If you're not already following me on social media, you can follow me at Legacy and Motion. You can also Google my name. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, but I've never done a TikTok. So if you are on TikTok, just add me. I promise at some point I'm gonna drop a TikTok and it's gonna be cold, but I don't know when that's gonna be. So moving on, today's call, we're actually gonna go over the program in detail. Just a brief welcome. I'll give you a quick history about 90 Days of Focus. We'll go over the program in detail and we'll be out of here. Hopefully by 7:45. We did go a full hour the first time, but as I mentioned, I'm a little tired today. I'm hanging with the family and just getting stuff done. It's got me a little running on E a little bit, and too much sugar. I had too much sugar today too, so I'm kind of crashing. But all right, let's move on. All right, so 90 Days of Focus again officially starts this Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. And actually this year, I'm starting the whole program probably about 10 days later than I did the first 2 years, because I realized that as I was in this intense process of focus, I wanted to build up a significant amount of momentum and really end the year strong in a couple of key areas. But I was ending the program 5 or 6 days, 7 days before the actual end of the year. So you had this intense 3 months of focus only to have that, peak and start to kind of go down before the year was done. So I moved it a couple of days so that this year we actually start on Saturday and we do not end until Friday, December 31st. So it's going to take you literally from the entire fourth quarter. The fourth quarter starts on Friday. We get started with the mental process of focusing on Saturday, and then we'll follow up on Monday with our first group coaching call. But it does run until Friday, December 31st, 2021. And again, that is designed to ensure that you have a significant amount of momentum literally heading into the next year, so that when the first of 2022 happens, you not only will you have a significant amount of momentum, but I promise you that if you do the work, if you focus, if you attend the group calls, you will not be one of those people who at the end of every year, you're wondering, okay, well, where did this year go? And you're also wondering, okay, is next year going to be, the year, or how's next year going to look? Or am I going to have these last minute resolutions that I don't actually have a plan for, and I don't already have the mindset and the mental discipline, the self-accountability in place to actually do the things that I want to do. So this system is not just, although we're focusing on sales, it's not just about sales, it's about the entire being and being able to get yourself to a higher state of consciousness and discipline and an ability to have the level of clarity and come up with the level of clarity that you need to develop the energy and the force that you need to manifest the things that you want to manifest. So brief history on 90 Days of Focus. When I first started 90 Days of Focus, I was at a point where I wasn't using social media a lot. And when I was just kind of posting, random stuff. I might post a quote here, or I might give a quick update here, but I wasn't really using social media for any real intents or purposes. And I got to a point where I realized that, okay, as I'm doing this business thing, I really got to start to give this social media some attention. And so at this point, I had been doing a lot of social listening. I've been creating content, but not with a lot of strategy, not with a lot of focus. And so part of the strategy was, okay, I want to increase my performance in these areas and end the year strong, but I also want to be able to document the process, and I want to be able to utilize social media at a higher level and utilize it more intently. So the idea for me was, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up with these goals. I'm going to do it for 90 days, and I'm going to drop a video every single day on social media for 90 days. And it may, depending on how active you are on social media, it may not seem like a lot. And in retrospect, to me is still a lot, because when you think about the things that you have to go through to create content, and you have a greater appreciation for content, then it's like, okay, whether you're posting 10 days straight, 90 days straight, or every day for a year, there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes for you to create content and to create quality content. So that's how everything kind of came about. It was partly a social media experiment, partly me trying to increase my performance and cut out some of the bad habits I've been struggling with. So anyway, this is actually the very first post from September 23rd of 2019, the very first day I started 90 Days of Focus. And at that time, my number one goal was to really get back into just working out consistently and working out at a higher level. So I'll play this for you. Let me know if you can hear it, the volume. I need some speakers for the computer, so you may not be able to hear it as well, but hopefully you can hear it. And then we'll just kind of proceed on to, I'll show you some more videos from when we actually ended the first session of 90 Days of Focus. So here we go. We just finished our first workout of our 90-day push. We did a nice cool 2 miles to get the body going in after about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks of just being lazy, not treating our body right, not getting enough sleep, not eating the right things.
The volume is a little low.
Having a drink, and you know how it goes. But we've refocused, we've rededicated, we figured out some new fitness goals, we simplified our fitness plan, and now we're on a 90-day push with a big triumphant experience at the end. And we want you to join us in that 90-day push. So what I promise to do over the next 90 days, I promise to post motivational, inspiring video from me working out, from me going through my fitness. All right, so again, very raw video. I was uncomfortable, not so much uncomfortable, but uncomfortable to an extent being on camera, knowing that, okay, I'm gonna start producing these videos. People are going to start watching them, right? People are going to start critiquing them and evaluating them, wherever the case may be. But nonetheless, I had a goal. I had tunnel vision. I said, I'm going to go ahead and do it and get started anyway. So that was the very first video. Again, I was tired. I just got done working out. I was actually running quite a bit. So, it was rough. I had my do-rag on. I had my white tee on. It was nothing fancy, but that's how everything got started. So let's move on to talk a little bit about some of the things that I actually accomplished over the course of that 90 days. Not only did I post 90 straight days of posting authentic content that I created. I wasn't posting or reposting content that somebody else made. I literally was recording a video. I was talking on the video. I was editing the video to make sure I could get it down to the certain, length that I needed it to post it, and went through this entire process of creating content. Then not only was it 90 straight days of posting, but it was 90 straight days of creating the content. Also, some of the things I was working on at the time, I created 2 seminars. I forgot about this on the first call, but I created 2 seminars, and I hosted the 2 seminars in several cities, all in the course of that 90 days. I was in Cincinnati a couple times. I was in Columbus. And I was doing some stuff online, but I created the Wealth Blueprint, which I haven't given in a while. I have to give that again soon. That was a really good one. And then I created another one called Elevate Through Communication. And I actually gave that was actually for a corporate client for a lunch and learn. And then also I ran the furthest that I had ever run in a single outing. I was running 10, 11, 12 miles at a point when, before 90 Days of Focus started, I had run cross country in high school. So I had run long distances before, but the longest I had run in high school was 7, 8 miles at one time. And right before 90 Days of Focus, I was working out, but I wasn't, that consistent, and I wasn't running a ton of mileage. I was running 2 miles here, 3 miles there. So in the course of the 90 days, not only was I running further than I had ever run, running more frequently than I had run, at least definitely in the last 10 or 12 years. But I was running 10, like I said, 9, 10, 11, 12 miles all because my mindset has shifted, my focus has shifted, and the things that I needed to cut out, I was able to cut that stuff out and build that mental discipline, that physical discipline, and really that focus that we talk about, that focus to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I was able to push myself further than I thought that I was capable of doing at the time. So it was really a profound experience. And then also, I had run the fastest mile that I had run in at least 10 years. And then on top of that, I had run the fastest 3 consecutive miles that I had run in the last 3 years. I actually ended up running a 5K at the end of the 90 days of focus, and ran a very strong and impressive time for where I was with my conditioning, and how long it had been since I had been running at that level. So those were some of the things we accomplished. And then also, I had actually hired my first accountability coach. 2019, I had actually hired my first coach in January, and that was for speaking and coaching. And I'll talk about that in a second. But in the fall, I actually hired my second coach. And after my first experience with hiring a coach, it really hit me how important it is that we have somebody outside of us who can, objectively observe, who we can be open with, who we can talk to, and then someone who can hold us accountable in various ways to do the things that we say we want to do. Because you have to be honest, at some point when you're trying to accomplish certain things, the only, as they say, the buck stops here. The only person at the end of the day who can get you to do what you need to do is you. And sometimes having that level of discipline and having that level of motivation, and that ability to execute at that level is difficult and sometimes impossible, because you're trying to do something that you've never done before, or you're trying to do something that you haven't done in a very long time. So sometimes you need that extra push and that extra accountability. So those were some of the things that we accomplished. And again, it was just a really profound experience. Similar to if you've ever fasted for 40 days, it's similar to fasting, except the process and the system, the reasons and things like that are a little bit different. And this gives you more of a internal ability to withstand and to stand firm with who you are and where you're trying to go, outside of or not taking into account, external influences or environments. So it's a really, really powerful experience. So with the volume being low, I won't play this one too much, but this is actually from day 90. And I post it again every day for 90 days. And this one I actually recorded as I was getting ready to run my race. And it was freezing outside. Actually, it was like 30, 35 degrees that day. But this is just me recording as I'm getting ready to run. And then I think I recorded a little bit after I finished my race. Hey, I'm doing a 5K. No, that's okay. No, that's fine. Breckenridge. All right, so this is so that's it. I won't go over it too much, but I'll give you a little bit of footage, and I'll tell you why I ran that 5K. It's a lot faster than what I've been training at. I had some good people to push me, and I just stayed focused on getting to the end of the rush. So I'm tired. I'm starting to think, why did I commit to 26.2? So we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna stay strong, and we're gonna continue to get in better shape. Peace. All right, so that's it. So the reason why I ran that 5K is because the 5K was actually a celebration. At the end of the 90 days, we'll come up with something that you decide that you want to use as a form of celebration. But for me, that victory lap was, okay, if I'm going to train this intensely for 90 days, what can I do in terms of celebration, and doing something exciting? And luckily enough, the 90 days ended on a Saturday, and I was able to find a 5K that took place on that Saturday. So I literally ended on the day that I ran, and it just made for just a very, very powerful experience. And one of the things that really carried me through, because not only was it cold, it was a trail run. So it was on a terrain that I had not trained on, very rocky, very bumpy. It was freezing cold. I literally had to battle my mindset every single step because it was painful. But one of the things that got me through was literally just staying focused and pushing, right? Pushing your mindset to stay focused on the end goal so that you can get through the pain, you can get through the frustration, you can get through the self-doubt, you can get through all of those things that go on in your mind as you're trying to pursue and you're trying to accomplish something that you haven't, again, done before or haven't done in a very long time. So all of that led to the following. We did 90 days of focus for 2 years consecutively in 2020. In the spring of 2021, actually put together a small group, and we actually went through the 90 days of focus as a small group. And really the reason why I did that, it wasn't necessarily because at the time I was like, I'm going to create this program and I'm going to invite all these people in and all that good stuff. Literally, this was something that I was doing for me. But over time, people started to see like, wow, okay, I see you posting, I see you, doing these runs, I see you doing this, this, and this. I want to be a part of it. And so at the end of 2020, I had a couple people hit me up and they're like, yo, Kev, we got to do this thing. I'm like, all right, cool, we'll do it, but you got to wait until the fourth quarter of 2021. And they're like, okay. A month goes by, 2 months go by, they hit me up again. I'm like, all right, this is what we'll do. We'll go ahead, we'll put together this small group, we'll do it now. And then you all will know what it's like come fourth quarter. So in the spring of 2021, I put together this cohort, had other people go through it, had other people experience, phenomenal results, experienced the exactly what I was feeling, except they had different things that they wanted to accomplish, and they were able to execute on that stuff, and they were able to accomplish it. So for me, that was validation that, okay, I'm actually onto something, and it's something that's not just benefiting me, but it's benefiting other people. So here we are, year 3 of 90 days of focus, and we actually have a formal program designed to literally help you elevate your game. Let me check my time. All right, cool. So we're good on time. So just to show you some of the interest and some of the support that we have for 90 days of focus, we've got friends, we have family, we've got associates, we got people just commenting, hey, I'm in and I'm looking forward to the motivation. People saying, yo, I am ready. I got folks saying, hey, I've been waiting on this because they've participated on their own the last 2 years and they've had, they've experienced the impact. So for me, this is all, again, validation of just the excitement and the shared energy that takes place when you are able to open yourself up, and you're able to open yourself up to give to other people so that they can collectively experience, and y'all can collectively experience something together. It's really, really profound what you're able to accomplish when you come together with other people. So just some of the interest and support in the program. All right, so let's talk about the actual program. I'll touch on the program, give you a couple quotables, but let me tell you why this year is different. So this year is different because in the last 2 years, I was coming up with goals that were unrelated. I won't say unrelated. They were in specific areas like my physical fitness, right? Well, this year, one of the main things that's different for me is that I'm more in a business mode. I'd say for the last 4, probably 5 months, I've been making a transition back into commercial brokerage. And then I'd say probably about the beginning of July is when everything, all my transfer and all my stuff got, worked out, got affiliated with the new company. And so I'm really focused on the business generation portion. And then with me being an entrepreneur and having my experience in sales and entrepreneurship and lead generation, business generation, all of that type of stuff. One of the areas that I am heavily focused on, and I know how important it is for other entrepreneurs, is that business, is that business generation, that lead generation, that prospecting, that how can you actually package your business, package yourself and sell it to a potential prospect? And what are some of the things that you can do to increase your business's revenue? So this year, because that's where my mindset is, I decided to create the program with a focus on business owners, on entrepreneurs, on salespeople, on anyone who works on commission, anybody who's in a position where they either want to grow something, right? Like you may have a business idea, or you're actually in business now, and you know that sales is critical to your ability to succeed, whether as the business owner, or it's critical for you to succeed as somebody working for a company, but you're still responsible for bringing in revenue. So one of the benefits of this year is not only am I focused on something that I've been documenting. If you want to check these videos out, you can check them out. Just look for the hashtag Road to Icon. But I've been able to clearly articulate what my goals are, what I need to do during this 90 days of focus, right? I'm actually finishing 90 days of focus now personally, as I was focused on July, August, and September. And now as we're transitioning into this fourth quarter, 90 days of focus, I know exactly what I need to be doing, exactly how to spend my time, et cetera, et cetera. So I am marrying, right, the 90 days of focus. I go through it the same way that you go through it. But this year, my goals are very specific and they're business oriented. Over the course of the next year, I want to be recognized as a CoStar Power Broker. That means I have to do probably anywhere between 20 to 50 million in transaction value to be recognized as a power broker, which would allow me to be recognized among the industry's best in my area. I also want to be recognized as what's called an icon within my new commercial brokerage. In order to achieve the icon status, you have to have at least 500,000 in gross commission income within your annual yearly period. And then also I want to become a CCIM. CCIM, in order for you to qualify for CCIM, you have to have done at least 30 million in commercial transaction value. So now that I'm focused in this sales piece, I have my goals clearly articulated. I'm coming up on 90 days of focus. I've put together this program that's focused on business generation, sales, prospecting, and all of that stuff. You have the benefit of, as you're going through the program, I'm going through the program as well. And I'm giving you insight from my life, from my profession. I get coached right now. I'm paying a couple $1,000s for coaching for some of these same things that we'll be talking about and that you'll have access to for free. So when I'm talking about coaching, when I'm talking about accountability, I'm not saying that just from, okay, let's do 90 days of focus to focus on our fitness, but I'm doing this stuff in real life as well. And I've worked with several coaches in several different areas over the last couple of years. And again, that experience has shown me, one, how valuable it is, but it's also inspired me to be able to give that same type of opportunity and benefit to other people so that they can experience what that's like and how powerful that is. And maybe one day you want to go on to coach and do accountability and stuff like that. But it's a great experience, both between the person being coached as well as the person coaching. So this year, I'll be sharing insight every single day from literally being in the trenches, just like you, being in the trenches, trying to conduct business, trying to set up meetings, trying to sell myself, sell my business, sell my services, et cetera, et cetera. So the goal of the program for this year is to help you develop and implement a framework that will help you achieve measurable results towards increasing your business's revenue. Now, we might have some people who decide to log on and join a program who aren't focused on business. They just want to learn a little bit more about business or entrepreneurship, and that's okay. They might not be focused on any of that stuff at all, but they like the accountability. That's okay. But this program and who it's going to be most impactful for is somebody, again, who is in that position where they have to sell themselves for one reason or another. Now, mind you, when I say sell yourself, it doesn't always have to be in a business context, right? If you have to sell yourself every single day. They classically say, right, you have to sell yourself to your spouse, potential spouse, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your parents, your coworkers. You are constantly selling yourself in a wide variety of areas and arenas within your life. So as you learn more about sales and you become more conscious of it and you continue to develop your skills, it allows you to become more influential, more powerful, more respected in some ways, depending on how you leverage that skill set. So there are a lot of benefits to learning how to sell better, even if you've already been in sales for a long period of time. One of the things that I've been certain to do is that although I've been in real estate a long time, I've done a lot of different types of transactions, seen a lot of different types of things. What I make sure that I do every single time I hop on a training or anything like that, I was talking about this over the weekend. I was on a training for something. And one of the things that I make sure I do is I check my ego at the door, because longevity, right, doesn't mean you know everything. It means you know stuff. And you may know a lot, but it doesn't mean that you know everything. And it doesn't mean that you aren't going to hear something again for the 10th time, the 20th time, and finally have that aha moment that unlocks the key to your greatness. So even if you have sales experience, this will definitely be beneficial for you, because you get to hear new information, maybe old information, but you hear it from a different angle. And you never know when you're going to hear the piece of information, the way you hear it, again, that's going to unlock that key to the problem that you're having. So the program goal, again, is to help you develop and implement a framework that will help you achieve measurable results towards increasing your business's revenue. Now, if you notice, I'm not making any guarantees here. I'm not telling you this is what's going to happen for you, because at the end of the day, the only thing that is going to happen for you is what you actually do, right? And we'll get into this over the next 13 weeks, but sales is a very individual sport. Now, you may have engage in sales where it's a team environment, so the dynamics are a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you still have to show up and you still have to do the work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the information in front of you. We're going to dialogue about it. We're going to share ideas and information, but from week to week, it's up to you to actually implement, what we come up with in terms of strategy and what we come up with in terms of goals. All right. So again, the program is designed to help you raise your awareness about what is sales, why is sales important, how does sales impact your business, why do you need to get better at sales, how to get better at sales, and how to systematically approach sales in your everyday life. One of the things that I've learned being an entrepreneur is that there are a lot of different buckets of areas that you have to have knowledge in, you have to have awareness in, you have to have some type of understanding and skill set. Even if there are people to fill those roles for you, you still have oversight and management of this entire business that is made up of various components. Now, how you came into business and what your background was before you got into business, before you got into sales, before you got into entrepreneurship, it may or may not have included actual sales experience, actual sales training. And for the vast majority of people, that tends to be the case. So when we get into business and we're learning the business, we're learning the operation, we're learning the marketing, we're learning all of the admin, all of this different stuff, we do not consciously have an awareness about the need to separate sales, right? To isolate. All of these areas need isolation to some degree and at some point, but to isolate that and to say, okay, and to recognize, okay, I am lacking in my sales ability or my sales knowledge or my sales management skills. So I need to step back and actually spend time on studying sales. Even if you've made some sales and you've closed some transactions, that does not mean you are a professional salesperson. It does not mean you are an expert at sales. It means you're good to a degree enough to have good customer service, right? To have some outreach, but that doesn't make you an expert, and it doesn't make you somebody that's really out in the field and understands how much time, how much effort to place on sales as opposed to other things that may be competing for your attention. So with the program, we'll talk about all of that. We'll identify those areas, we'll identify those needs, and then we'll develop that system so that after the 90 days, you'll be able to move on and you'll still be able to consciously implement or to maintain this system and to edit and to update this system so that you are now able to operate at a higher level, more successfully, more so at will and not by chance, right? That's how you get into beast mode, as they say, right? Or how you get into being a high producer, high performer. You turn that higher level of performance into an everyday act. All right, so couple more quotables for you. If you're new to business or have been in business for a while, hopefully, you know by now that focus is one of the major keys to your success. And as an entrepreneur and business owner, your ability to generate sales for your business is your number one priority. Again, as an entrepreneur, a salesperson, a business owner, your ability to generate sales for your business is your number one priority. So the question, right? The question that I have to ask myself, the question that you should ask yourself is, if this is my number one priority, am I giving my number one priority enough attention? How am I performing in this area that is my number one priority? Right? How's my business performing in that area? How are the people that are in place to fulfill that? How are they performing in that area? If you don't have that evaluation, and if you can't effectively evaluate that, then that lets you know we have a problem. So we'll deep dive into the relationship between you and your business and your sales success and the impact it has on your health, on the health and wealth of you and your life. Now, I'm not going to dig all into your business. Your business is your business, but we will talk at a higher level about how the ebbs and flows, the things that you should be checking on, the things that you may be challenged with, and all of that. We'll talk about it also in the context of how our lives as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, how our lives are so intertwined with our business or businesses. And when those businesses aren't healthy and they aren't healthy financially, how that impacts and how that affects us in our own everyday life, which is a great point right there. I'll move on. I want to make sure we get finished. We won't get finished by 7:45, but we'll definitely be done by 8. One of the biggest issues that entrepreneurs have, right, business owners have, is we have a difficult time separating ourselves from our business. We get all consumed in our business. We and our business become one. And by that happening, we have the implications and the impacts of what happens to the business, and it carries through. So as we talk about that, we'll be able to hopefully create an environment where you're able to step back from your business, objectively look at your business, and then to separate yourself from your business in a way that allows you to have a healthier life day in and day out, regardless of what is happening in the business. So we'll talk about that. All right, sales is a mindset and a skill set, and it requires the proper amount of attention in order to reap the rewards. Now, again, and I'll cover this quickly, who is this 90 days of focus ideally for? Who's going to get the most out of this 90 days of focus? Solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, CEOs, anyone struggling with generating business in the past. Now, mind you, if you aren't a solopreneur or an entrepreneur or a business owner or a CEO yet, and you think that you want to be, then this is for you, because now you're getting a head start on understanding the type of responsibilities that are going to be placed on your shoulders when you create an environment that you're able to now give yourself a promotion as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, or as a CEO. But we'll talk about that. All right. If you've never received formal sales training, this will be ideal for you. If you've received poor or inadequate sales training, this will be good for you. If you are suffering from poor performance, poor habits, and mindset, then this is definitely for you. And that suffering from poor performance, habits, and mindset, that's where the awareness and the consciousness comes in, because you may not realize, hopefully you do, but you may not realize that you're performing at a poor level or that you have poor habits because you haven't been able to contextualize what high performance means for you and what high performance looks like for you, because you haven't given yourself enough thought or enough consideration to be able to really conceptualize what you're capable of, right? So we'll talk about that. If you've struggled with generating business in the past, maybe you had a business before and the business failed and you haven't yet gotten back up to get back on the horse, this is great for you as well. And finally, if you're responsible for bringing in business revenue in any capacity, or if you are in a sales role and you rely on sales to generate a commission. All right, so 7:40, we are almost there. So let's talk about the roadmap to success. All right, today is very simple. We have our 90 days of focus overview call. You have the opportunity to sign up. You can actually sign up right now. You can sign up after the program, but sign up is up. Sign up for the program is free, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it's a free program for 13 weeks. And we'll start the program October 2nd, 2021. And the only thing after that that you have to do is you have to endure. And what I should have put there is you have to endure and you have to execute, right? We talked about execution. So sales is the most important element of growing a business, yet it is one of the least talked about and least understood aspects. I can tell you, I told this last week. So let's say, okay, you're in business for 10 years, right? And every year you're learning a different topic about business. Now, for me, although I was good at business, I was good at sales, consciously, I was not at a level where I articulated and understood my position as a salesperson. So every year, right? Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, I'm learning more about business, learning more about entrepreneurship, learning more about real estate. Now, for me, it wasn't until like year 6, year 7, year 8 that I really became conscious of the importance and the necessity to really understand sales, to really understand sales processes, to really understand prospecting and really understand customer service and really understand how to manage, all of that, and to be able to still run your business because there are competing interests and things like that. But when you talk to other entrepreneurs, business people, unless that person is in sales, and especially non-business people, non-entrepreneurs, unless that person is in sales, most people do not like to talk about sales. Most people don't like to engage in sales. Most people don't even like to talk to salespeople. Yet it is the sales that is going to produce everything else that you want, the abundance that you want, the abundance that your business needs, the flow of money that your business needs. So it's one of the things that we don't talk a lot about. And a lot of times people look down or talk down on salespeople because there are some salespeople and sales tactics that give it a bad name. But when you look at it, being in sales, honestly, is to a degree, some would argue the best position to be in when it comes to being in business, whether you're an employee or you're an employer. The sales position arguably is the most dynamic and the most fun, but we'll talk about it. All right, so 13-week program starts Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. I've broken everything down into basically 4 modules. You have your mindset module, you have your execution module, your performance, and then your victory lap. There will be 13 lessons. We'll have a weekly group coaching call every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. And then on top of the weekly coaching, you also have the benefit of me dropping my daily insight videos that I'll publish to social media. And every single day, I am going to publish a video, and it's strictly going to be some type of insight that from that particular day, in terms of me focusing on business, me focusing on prospecting, me focusing on sales, me going out to meetings, me battling with moods and emotions for the day, all of the things that you're challenged with as a human being, but challenged with as somebody who is prospecting and generating business, especially in sales. I'll be dropping videos 1 to 3 minutes every single day. So you'll be able to, whenever you get on social media, you can look at it, contextualize that, wrap your mind around it, use it as motivation, use it as accountability, however you want to use it. But you'll have those 90 videos plus our weekly calls. And then our program ends on Friday, December 31st, again, New Year's Eve, and that'll carry you straight into the new year. All right, so let's go over the 13 weeks in detail. And this will wrap us up. We're almost done. We'll be done probably next 7 to 10 minutes, but this is the final countdown. So week 1, and some of this I may change. I think I got a good schedule that I like. And we'll talk about all of this stuff in more detail, but we'll talk about mindset from the standpoint of sales. right? From business, from entrepreneurship, from being in that role. Week 1, we'll talk about mindset. We'll go over mindset principles to help you develop the mindset of an icon and a top producer. Week 2, we'll talk about goal setting, and we'll dig deep into goal setting, and the goal setting hopefully will help you gain the level of clarity that you need to help drive your sales activity. One of the most important things is knowing, one, again, what you're capable of, but also what are you shooting for, right? Like if you don't have a clear idea of what you're trying to accomplish in those 90 days, there's no way that you even have a chance at being able to accomplish it, right? Not to mention all of the insight that comes from simply having the goal and then pursuing the goal. I can't tell you how much insight that I've been able to gain that has helped me to be better simply because I am paying attention to my goals and I'm moving down the field and I'm experiencing insight and revelations as I go through it and able to further contextualize what I need to do, where I am, and in pursuit of those goals. All right, week 3, we'll talk about time management, how to control your time and what to fill your time with, right? We'll take a look at your schedule, right? I'll ask you to put together a mock schedule or a schedule that you're actually running. We'll review that schedule and we'll say, okay, do you have control over your time? Like, do you have control over your time? Because if you do not have control over your time, then you need to get control over your time, because this process, this transition is a more aggressive posture, and it's going to require you to be on your toes and not on your heels. So in order for you to be on your toes, you have to have control. Then we'll talk about, okay, once you have control, or even if you don't, what are you filling your time with, right? There are going to be some things that you need to cut out. There are going to be some things that you need to add. And one of the things that you realize is that to be most effective really requires the most simple of calendars. But we'll talk about that. Well, then in week 4, we'll really deep dive into sales, the sales process, activities. We'll start the conversation about avatars and more. We'll start to get into more of the nitty gritty of sales. Everything before that is going to be in the context of sales. And then we'll get into sales more. As you can see in week 5, we're talking about prospecting. What is prospecting? Why does prospecting matter? We'll go over the lingo, why to use the proper lingo. We'll go over your prospecting efforts, what they have been in the past, what they look like now, where they need to be. Week 6, we'll talk about follow-up. They say the money is in the follow-up. We'll talk about the importance of following up, what it looks like, how often or how frequent or how much you need to follow up, why it matters, along with some of the tools, the habits, and things that you need to be able to effectively follow up. Week 7, we'll talk about health. Health is wealth, especially when it comes to sales, especially when it comes to high performance, right? Like I'm dealing with this now because I know that I'm getting ready to dive into this 90 days of focus. My mind and my body are in rebellion, right? Like my mind and my body wants to do everything that I shouldn't be doing. That's going to affect my performance, because it's this natural reaction that I always go through. It's like, all right, we about to go hard for this 90 days. All right, well, let me have a lot of desserts, right? Like when we started the call, I said, man, I think I'm a little sleepy because I was having what did I have? I had this shake from this place called Rita's, right? Enjoyed my shake. Had some other sugar earlier today, and I'm not diabetic. I'm just had too much sugar today. But when we talk about health, those are the types of things that you have to be able to consciously assess and say, okay, I can't have too much sugar because, one, you might be a diabetic, or two, hey, sugar makes me feel this way, or sugar makes me feel this way, right? Like I know when I have too much sugar, or depending on what type of sugar it is, it might give me a headache, or I might have this energetic high and then I might get sleepy afterwards, right? That affects your performance. So if you are at the top of your business day and you have a line of things that you need to get done from a business standpoint, but you decide that you want to have cake and ice cream during your lunch, well, what is your afternoon going to look like? Performance, health. Your health is wealth. Week 8, we'll talk about accountability. We'll go into how to hold yourself accountable, what self-accountability looks like. We'll talk about, where you are with accountability, where you need to be with accountability. And this is where we start to talk about that performance, right? We went from mindset to execution. Once you have the mindset, right, nothing can change unless your mind is right. So we'll go from mindset, then we'll go to the actual doing and the executing, and then we'll go into the evaluation of how we are actually executing and actually performing. And then from there, we'll move into week 9, where we'll talk about results, managing results, evaluating results, monitoring results, and being able to face your actual truth. Your truth is what is the saying? I can't think of it. The proof is in the pudding, right? Like, so we'll talk about the pudding. What does the pudding look like? What do those results look like? Week 10, we'll transition into finishing up performance, where we'll actually talk about performance. How do you view it? How do you approach it? What is performance? How do you improve it? How do you improve it as somebody who's operating solo? How do you improve it against whatever parameters you're up against in terms of job performance? And then week 11, we'll transition into what I like to call the victory lap. As part of the process, because you're going to be making sacrifices, because you're going to be battling challenges, because you're going to be overcoming, one of the things, and that's a constant state of being, right? Like, you have to be comfortable being in that constant state of being and going through the things that you're going through. Now, the benefit is, and where I ideally want you to be, is I want you to be able to celebrate you, right? I want you to be able to congratulate you. I want you to be able to pat yourself on the back, because you may not have the support system who is there to congratulate you, who is there to monitor everything you're doing, and like, yo, I really like what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing, or I love what you're doing, or congratulations. Or let's say your congratulations is not big, right? Like, let's say you have a big sales quarter and all your job does is, buy you a piece of pizza, or buy you a pizza, and that's it. Or maybe they don't even recognize you at all. Whatever your environment is, whatever that accountability and reward system is, that's outside of you. I want you to be totally 100% comfortable being able to control what you can control. And that's part of what this entire 90 days of focus is going to be about, is we can only control what we can control. And so we have to know what are the things that we can control. And you can control how you reward yourself. You can control what your reward is based on what you accomplished. And you should reward yourself, because there should not be this high level of sacrifice or sacrifices, right? These periods of restriction without reward. There's no fun in that. I want you to work hard, but I also want you to have fun. So week 11, we'll transition into the benefits, the victory lap of increased sales. If you increase your sales, you increase your business revenue, there is now an abundance, right? We start to go down that trail of abundance and increasing the abundance that exists within our life. So how do we transition and use that abundance, not superfluously or superfluously, and just buying whatever we want, right? Like, you can buy something to reward yourself, but on the bigger picture, what are you going to do with that abundance? So we'll get into talking about wealth, what to do with your money, or different things that you can do with your money, not what to do with it, but different things that you can do with it. We'll talk about a wealthy mindset, both financially and non-financially, because I firmly believe that you should be able to achieve wealth from a non-financial standpoint before and regardless of whether or not you achieve it or have it financially, because for me, wealth is internal, and starts internal. So we'll talk about all of that stuff. In week 12, we'll go over resources, tools, resources, and Q&A. Week 13 is our victory lap. It's just a celebration. We're going to pat ourselves on the back. We're going to talk about our experience, and we're just going to have a good time. And then we're going to celebrate ourselves in our own individual lives, however we see fit. For me, it may be, I might take the family out to dinner. I may go get a massage and go buy myself something from the mall, right? I don't know. I'll figure it out. But celebrate. We'll celebrate collectively as a group on our call. You'll celebrate individually, and you'll congratulate yourself for finishing 90 days of focus. And then on a daily basis, as I mentioned before, we'll have our daily insight videos, which I'll publish on social media. So to finish up, coaching and accountability. So Coach Kendall Ficklin is the very first coach I hired, and Coach K is he's coached and has been coached by one of the #1 motivational speakers in the world, Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher. He's one of his proteges. And I got to work under Coach K for very similar 90 days. It wasn't a 90 days of focus, but it was over the course. It was a quarterly program. And I was able to get certified from him and his company in the business of speaking and coaching. And then after my experience going through 90 days of focus my first time, during that first 90 days of focus, I hired an accountability coach. And after my experience with that accountability coach, I decided, hey, this is something that I like to do. This is something that I can do. And so I went through the company that I used to hire him. I went through that company, did a digital certification to learn how to coach people in a digital environment. So those are some of the coaching certifications I have. Of course, my experience, life experience and professional experience as well. But at the end of the day, the question really comes down to, are you focused on your business's revenue and what you are doing on a daily basis to drive sales? I've given you an example of some of the things that I've done, right? To prepare myself, to train myself, to discipline myself. So we asked the question of you, how focused are you? Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters are the results. And this is actually a testimonial from someone I coached 2 years ago, way before I decided to put together a program about sales. And she is a corporate salesperson. And she said, Kevin is a phenomenal coach. I worked with him to help reach my sales goals, primarily in the area of prospecting. He held me accountable. He helped me develop strategies that were instrumental in achieving my goals. Our weekly calls, text communication helped to build and maintain that momentum, even when distractions persisted. And as a result of working with Kevin, I increased my prospecting efforts by 250%, which was more than I had done in the past 2 years. Again, thank you, Kevin. So a lot of things I touched on earlier, this is just a perfect example of how that manifests in real life. All right, so that's it for the call. You can sign up now. This link will take you directly to my website, or you could just go directly to my website and click on the coaching. Now, one thing I didn't mention, and I'll mention this now, is the calls, the group calls are live. You hop on every week, no problem. But you do not have recorded access to those calls. If you want recorded access and you want lifetime recorded access to every single group call, then there is a small fee for that. Now, if you sign up and you sign up today, or you sign up before Friday at 11:59 p.m., which is basically 12 p.m. Saturday, then you get a 50% discount. The charge for the lifetime access is $199. If you sign up before then, you get a 50% discount. So for $99, not only do you get to go through the 13 weeks of the program, but you also get to have access to those video calls for forever. So you can go back, you can replay them, you can review them, you can listen to them over and over. I can't tell you how important it is for you to not only be there and be present, to engage, but to also have that as a resource that you can replay over time, because after 90 days, you may find yourself slipping, and it's good to have that motivation. So what do you get for that $99? You get of course, the entire program, the weekly calls, but you also get nearly 13 hours of recorded video instruction. And then if you sign up early, you also get access to at least 90 daily insight videos, easy access. They'll be on my social media, but if you want to be able to review them whenever, you want to have easy access to them, you also get easy access to that as well. So again, lifetime access is $199. You sign up before the program starts, 50% discount. So you get it for $99. All you have to do is log on to my website. When you sign up for the program, there will be 2 options. One option, you can just sign up for the group weekly coaching calls. There's no fee for that. There's no fee to participate in the program. I want to be clear, there is no fee. But if you do want that added benefit of the recorded calls, then there's the 50% off fee. Just use the code 9050, and that's it. Check out my website. Click on the coaching section. You'll see the 90 days of focus where you can sign up. And if no one, if anyone has any questions, let me know. If not, that is it for today. And make sure that you sign up, or that I have your email that you officially signed up. If you're watching on Zoom, then I have your information. If you're watching on Facebook, you can drop your email in the comments section, or you can send me a DM with your email. We'll make sure that you're signed up. And then before Saturday, you will get an email about some assignments. We're not going to meet on Saturday. We're not going to meet on Sunday. We don't meet again until next Monday, but there are going to be some assignments that you have to do on Saturday, and you have to submit on Saturday. And then there's going to be an assignment that you have to do on Sunday and that you have to submit on Sunday. So that way we can cover those first 2 days, and then we'll start deep diving into the particular topic areas each week starting next Monday. All right, so let me double check. I'm sorry, I always forget to check Facebook when I first get started. All right, so I appreciate you, Marcus. I don't know if you're still on, man, but I appreciate you for that comment, bro. All right, you too, Dominique. All right, so anyone, any questions on a Zoom call? If not, that is okay. Just let me know. Going once.
Hey, Kevin, can you put your link up again?
Yeah, here, let me do this. I will drop it in the Zoom comments for you.
Thank you.
And also too, something I'm excited about. Actually, this is cool. And we'll talk about all of this stuff too. When we get into sale, when we go through the 13 weeks of the program, we're going to get into touch on marketing. We'll touch on branding. We'll touch on personal brands, the power of a personal brand, and we'll touch on a lot of stuff. But this is something that I thought was pretty cool. I was able to develop some actual merch items that capture the essence of the movement. So you can feel free to check out the store as well, but we'll talk about all of that stuff as well. But that's it. So if nobody has anything else, no other questions, I'll end it. And thank you again for logging on. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to just send me a message, comment on Facebook. If you have my number, text me. If you have my email, email me. I'm very accessible, and I appreciate you for taking time out of your night. Now I'm going to end my night, go spend some time with my family, and get ready to make it happen tomorrow. So take care. Peace.
Thank you.
All right, no problem.